Welcome to the Field Report. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Rick. Together we've spent the past week extensively delving into the secrets of the elements.
Yes, let our powers combine. Fire!
I thought Sonic was the fifth element. Heart hardly seems that useful, really. Maybe they would have been better off with a ring that shoots sound waves.
Not sure how that helped with pollution.
It totally might.
But let's get back to the reason that we're looking into the elements to begin with.
Right. That, of course, was brought on by the release of the newest campaign setting book, Planes of Power. This softcover takes a look into the four elemental planes: air, earth, fire, and water.
But of course not the plane of Sonic.
Right, because Sonic is an energy type, not an element, much like there's no plane of acid.
Which I imagine would be an unpleasant, or at least surreal place.
Probably best we put a disclaimer up about...
Already did.
Good! Anyway, Planes of Power provides a thorough look at each of the four elemental planes, and offers up some useful information for game masters looking to delve into extraplanar settings. Inside, you'll find information on each of the elemental planes, a prominent city located on each one, and a slew of new monsters to throw at your players. There are also some interesting class options included in the book, such as new druid elemental domains, barbarian rage powers, and 2 new archetypes. The rogue archetype is of particular note as it allows you to use your sneak attack on elementals, a huge benefit for any rogue expecting to face said outsiders on a regular basis.
Sounds excellent.
Right. Am I sensing a butt?
But, while the book does an excellent job of exploring the four elemental planes, it is sadly not perfect. Planes of Power devotes 10 pages to each plane, and while those 40 pages make up about 2/3 of the book, it feels like they barely scratch the surface. The City of Brass, a location that I feel could benefit from its own book entirely, only receives about 2 pages.
Ah, the City of Brass. I believe I spent 6 weeks of gaming trapped there once. Thanks for the memories, Greg Vaughn.
Good times. Speaking of the Plane of Fire, I was pleased to see that Ymiri, the elemental lord of fire, was fully statted out in this book. But a little disappointed to see that she was the only elemental lord to receive that treatment. That and the good aligned elemental lords were barely even touched on.
Also, no city or planar maps? Maybe saving for an adventure path?
That's a good idea. At the end of the day, I still like the book. It's very well written, it does just enough to excite the imagination while providing useful information. I'd say 4 stars.
I second that. 4 stars.
Not bad then. Still, I would have loved to see a bit more information on the para-elemental plane.
The para what?
Looks like it's time for a Pathfinder history lesson. Let us take you back, deep into the archives of the past, to a time before Pathfinder. Here we will look at the origins of the elemental planes. As many of you may know, Pathfinder is a game built on the foundations of a much older game system, Dungeons & Dragons. The origin of the elemental planes dates back to July 1977, where in Dragon 8, D&D co-founder Gary Gygax first laid out the basics of the inner planes that comprised the cosmology of his game. At the time, there were only 4 elemental planes, those of fire, air, water, and earth. These were the home of the elementals, and the only place that they touched were on the material plane. Then in 1979, 2 years later, Jeff Swycaffer expanded the elemental planes into the 4 primary planes and the para-elemental planes that were created where they touch. These para-elemental planes became core canon a year later in D&D and Demigods, and were expanded upon further in the Manual of the Planes in 1987. Gygax listed these para-elemental planes as magma, where earth and fire meet, smoke, where fire and air meet, ice, where air and water meet, and ooze, where water and earth meet. These became the homes for their corresponding elementals, such as ice and magma elementals. There are also quasi-elemental planes, but that's a story for another day. This was the rule of the day for D&D and Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. But in 2001, the Manual of the Planes for 3rd edition removed these para-elemental planes, stating that the mixed elementals, like magma, are found on both their parent planes. As Pathfinder is, at least tangentially, a continuation of the 3rd edition, it was assumed that the 4 planes are not bordering one another, and has been held true here since. Until Bestiary 2 saw the return of the hybrid elemental. There it was stated that the elemental planes do border one another, in areas that show aspects of both planes, but as of yet these areas have not been listed as separate planes of their own. Whether this will change in the future remains to be seen, or even if they can, as the open game license only applied to the 3rd edition. For now, all we know is Paizo has a rich history to draw from as they turn their gaze upon the planes beyond this. And there you have it.
Interesting. Now, some of you out there might be wondering why all the focus on the elemental planes. As usual, there is a method to Paizo's release schedule and a pattern of campaign settings and player companions that tie into other products, like the Adventure Path line. In this case, Planes of Power is a great tie-in for Season 8 of the Pathfinder Society, the Year of the Stolen Storm.
This season began at Gen Con back in July, and will run through next year. While they've released only 3 scenarios so far,
And 6 free quests.
we do know that this year the Society is delving into the elemental planes, and embroiling themselves into planar politics.
So, if you're involved in Society play, Planes of Power may be even more useful to you.
Speaking of the Society, we should mention the new Retail Incentive Program. This new addition to the Role-Playing Guild Guide is designed to encourage Pathfinder Society players to support the locations that host their games. Players can redeem their receipts for benefits shared by the entire table.
In short, for every $10 you spend supporting your local business, you gain a single-use benefit you can redeem during any scenario that day. If your entire table combined spends $50 or more, all the players receive even greater benefits.
It's certainly a good effort on Paizo's part to encourage players to support their local gaming stores.
I wonder, if I offer this to my players, will they start bringing me chips and soda as tribute?
Your table, your rules.
Make sure to let the organized play coordinators know your thoughts on this new program. You can email them at pathfindersociety@paizo.com.
And as always, make sure it's constructive criticism.
This concludes our field report. Let us know your thoughts on Planes of Power, Elementals, history, rules, or to throw verbal tomatoes our way.
Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this segment, and return next week for our next field report. Good luck, Pathfinders.